I'm Donn Liles. I was founder and CEO of Databasics Corporation, a software products and services company oriented exclusively to systems for apparel, footwear manufacturing, and sourcing. The product that we had at the time was a turnkey solution. It was based on a kludge of hardware based on Nova 3 computer, on a third-party operating system, and on my product called CAMP, Comprehensive Apparel Manufacturer's Package. About 1979, I started to identify and move forward on the second iteration of CAMP. I had chosen a pure data general environment, believed that COBOL was the correct language to use based on a half-truth belief that COBOL would be transportable. I had in the US 2 false starts with new development. The talent in the US was just not available to get this done. I then saw a small nondescript ad somewhere, don't recall where, and met the late Naren Patni in Boston. The Patnis were Data General distributors in India. They were also part of a scheme to earn import dollars. They utilized their data center and development group in Nariman Point to earn export dollars. Muti came to New York City and stayed in my home. We had various meetings. He met with some of our prospects and clients. They fell in love with him as much as I did. We also went over the functional design document in great detail. Patni and I made an agreement to do the development in Mumbai. Approximately 50 man-year effort. The cost was a fraction of what we had budgeted. Muti went home with the functional design document. In early 1980, I made my first trip to India. I met with Muti in his office. He was sitting behind a big desk with stacks and stacks and stacks of envelopes. Hundreds of responses to a newspaper ad that had been placed. PhDs, Masters of Engineering, talent that I would never be able to hire in the US. I knew that I was onto something really good. I met the team, Nandan, Chris, Shibu, Dinesh, Raghu, and Ashok, who with one or two other people were the the project leaders and designers. They had gone through my entire functional design document and had taken it apart. I was so touched that someone had finally read my 18-inch stack of documentation. In the past, when asked, I would push across the stack of paper. Whoever was interviewing me would check the box off, and we moved on to something else. Keep in mind that this was 1980. At that time, there was no internet, no email, no ability to electronically transfer files or documentation, no way to send software halfway around the world, except perhaps by using magnetic tape. When in India in 1980, one could try to book a trunk call to the US. Had a 50-50 chance of that happening in the middle of the night. Communication was primarily via teletype. I believe that this was the era that the fax machine was invented, or that it became commercially available. I vividly recall what a technology advance we thought the fax machine was. I then began a regiment that was approximately 2 weeks in Mumbai and 2 weeks at home. On my second trip to India, there was nearly 18 inches of hand-drawn flowcharts, data diagrams, systems designs. We went through all of them in great detail, made very few corrections, and signed off the design. I went back home to the US and programming began. On my next and subsequent visits, the purpose was primarily review of the functional programs themselves. There were virtually no bugs. There were few adjustments or corrections. Was this attributable to the genius of the project leaders, or was it attributable to the unique concepts that they had applied? The project went forward with very few snags, surprises, or setbacks. Near the end, I was offered an opportunity to participate in the formation of Infosys. After the current project was completed, Muti, Nandan, Chris, Shibu, Dinesh, Raghu, and Ashok would form Infosys. Infosys would make an agreement to support camp on site in the US. No choice whatsoever except to support this brilliant group of people. I went home for the last time on this project. Several weeks later, team members started showing up in the US to do implementations. I met each group to kick off the implementation project and to be sure that the teams were comfortable and settled in. Just think, this was possibly the first time abroad for many. They were dispatched to places like Tampa, Florida, Braintree, Massachusetts, and Gassville, Arkansas, meeting people that had possibly never met an Indian, and I was a little nervous. In reality, the brilliance and competency of each member was immediately apparent and very much appreciated. Technical partners were impressed and amazed. User partners just fell in love with them. They really became members of the family. I realized very early the technical skills and brilliance of this team, but had very little insight to how these guys could be such brilliant businessmen. They built an organization of 350,000 people, doing nearly $18 billion a year in turnover. They built personal fortunes and have provided such generous philanthropy. But the greatest strength, in my opinion, is that kindness and graciousness that won over each and every client of Data Basics. I am so enormously proud to have been part of this and to be able to call you guys my friends. Congratulations, happy 40th. Thank you.